Hello, this is Colleen Morley for CMSA Chicago, and welcome to another episode of CMSA Chicago Member Spotlight, our informational video series by members about members, discussing the various specialties in case management. Today's video puts the spotlight on Jennifer Axelson, LCSW, CCM, CLCP. Jennifer works for AROSA, and she has many positions. Her top two, however, that she's described to me is Expert Life Care Manager and Clinical Manager. Welcome, Jennifer.
Thank you.
Jen, can you tell me a little bit about yourself, your career path, and what led you to the roles that you are in today?
That actually, I could probably fill a half an hour with this crazy career path. I started out in social services. I was running a grant for the governor where I was providing education on ecstasy and club drugs and essentially what would be considered a detention or a suspension alternative program for students and parents. Decided I wanted to go back for a teaching certification because I loved the education component. Went back, got my teaching certification. But when I was teaching, all I wanted to do was spend one-on-one time with kids and provide them with that extra support. But you can't do that as a teacher. So I wanted to go back for a master's degree in social work so I could provide school social work. Did that. Graduated right at the beginning of a recession when nobody was hiring social workers. So I decided I was going to round out my resume and work with the aging population temporarily. Well, 11 years later, I'm still with this amazing company. My job roles have changed quite a bit over time, but I started out having no experience working with the aging population, no medical experience. And over 11 years, I have really developed a specialty in providing community-based care management for individuals who have medical complexities and physical issues of some kind where they require home modifications or equipment, and then really coordinating services for those individuals so that they are able to have care in all areas of their life.
So that's incredible. And what a journey you've had.
Oh, so, absolutely.
What does a work day look like for you in these multiple roles that you carry?
Well, okay. So it really varies. I would say when I was really just providing community care management, so just direct client care, your day-to-day changes, but what your week looks like is the bulk of your time is actually out seeing clients. Now that whether it's in their home or their facility or at a doctor appointment or at a hospital, the bulk of my time was spent doing that. And then, as we all understand, the rest of my time was spent doing paperwork about the visits I had been to. Now, as my role has changed and I'm in more of a management role now, when I'm not seeing clients, which is a smaller percentage of my time, that actual seeing clients, then have the opportunity to provide mentorship and education, training, and supervision for other clinical team members who are providing the direct client care. So I have that opportunity to do both. I consider myself very, very lucky that I still have that touchstone where I still get to be with clients, but I also have this amazing opportunity where I get to mentor and train and supervise newer staff members, which is excellent.
Excellent. So what do you enjoy most about the work that you do? Or, what are you most excited about what you're doing now? I know that you're presenting at the CMSA National Conference coming up, and that's an incredible presentation. I can't wait to see it.
Thank you.
So tell me, what do you consider the biggest rewards in the field that you're in?
That is a lot of questions. So yes. I would say what I'm most excited about is actually, it's so funny you bring up the CMSA National presentation because that presentation is on integrated care management. So our company was bought out by AROSA about a year and a half ago, and they have this really excellent approach to care management, and that's integrated care management, where you are able to provide care management, and then the care managers are actually overseeing and coordinating home care. So you have this unique collaboration between in-home care and care management, which is so helpful and making sure that a person's care plan is really tailored to their needs, and then someone is overseeing it. It also gives the caregivers this great opportunity to have feedback with somebody. They're not in it alone. They have somebody that they can talk with and report issues they're seeing, or if they're feeling stressed in some way, they're able to talk to somebody about that. So I'm really excited about that approach. And I will be talking about that at CMSA National. But I think something else I'm really excited about, when we were acquired by Arosa, we almost overnight had a much larger group of professionals we could talk with, which is another thing I love about being a member of CMSA. You get something very similar. You're able to talk to people who have a different area of specialty than you do. You're able to reach out to others who can provide you with guidance, or if you're feeling stressed out, they can help you. I've been doing this 11 years, and there are others who have been doing this 3 times as long as me, and can give me guidance. And I love that. So I think, most excited about, I love the integrated care management approach. I love working for Arosa, where I now have this huge network of professionals that I can call colleagues, and can draw on their experience. And the biggest rewards, well, now that again could take a really long time, but I think the biggest rewards are really twofold. Being able to make a difference in people's lives. Community-based care management is so unique because we're really meeting the person where they are in their living environment. So it's different than hospital-based care management, which is amazing and wonderful. But I almost think of it as passing the baton. We kind of, out in the field, we take it from there to make sure that all the amazing professionals in the hospital who've given them sound, solid recommendations to make sure they stay healthy and on a correct course, we can actually help them do that and prevent them from going back to the hospital again, because nobody wants that. They want to stay home. We want them to stay home. Hospital-based professionals want them to stay home and healthy. And we have a great opportunity to help promote functioning, minimize complications, and try to maintain as much independence as possible. So I think, that is a huge reward when we can be a part of that. And then, as I was mentioning, as a manager, the other reward that I get to, I'm blessed with being able to see come to fruition is where I can mentor younger staff members. I can give them advice. I can, we all have those professional experiences where it's like, oh man, this day is never going to end, or this client was really difficult. And then all of a sudden, 5 years later, there's another staff member who is in a similar situation. And I can call upon that day I thought would never end, or that client that about drove me to fits. And I can share that with them, and I can pass on that education. That's a huge reward. That absolutely makes my job wonderful.
The role of mentoring is something that, I'd never really thought that I was like the mentor person, and you just develop into it. And I can see you excelling in that, because you're just all about that, passing on that information and passing on that knowledge.
Absolutely.
So was there something that surprised you about the role when you first started? You mentioned that you had started off on a much different trajectory. So when you got into this role and you got here, what was the biggest surprise to you about it?
That I liked it. I'm going to tell you, Colleen, I didn't take one gerontology course getting my master's degree. I never wanted to work with the aging population. I would have sworn up and down I would be working with kids in a school. I would not be working with individuals in their homes, and I would not be working with people who were, over the age of 18. I would have bet money on it, and I would have lost a lot of money, because I walked in the door. I thought this was a short-term gig. I'm going to round out my resume. I fell in love with not just the aging population, but at Arosa, we work with people who are aging, some kids, a lot of adults with developmental disability or mental health issues, huge spectrum of clients. And I was so narrow-minded before I started this job. I was so naive in where I would find a true passion and love. And that was the biggest surprise. It's always a surprise, because you think you've got it figured out, right? you think you know what you're going to do, and you get slapped up by the side of your head with what you were always meant to do, but never knew it. And that was the biggest surprise for me.
I will agree with you 100% there.
Right?
100%.
Yeah, it's a huge blessing in my life, this rocky, crazy path. And
Hmm.
it led me exactly where I was always meant to be and never knew it. So
Right.
I'm thankful for that.
So in your role, what are some of the biggest challenges that you face day to day?
Um, well, there's always the usual challenges as far as keeping up with paperwork, managing stress, maintaining boundaries. But I think, you know, I think one of the biggest challenges is really encouraging clients to, remain compliant with advice. Colleen, I know you know that firsthand. Compliance can be a challenge sometimes. Um, Being able to meet all of our clients' needs when they don't necessarily have awareness of their needs, or they don't have insight into the degree to which they need help, that can be a challenge sometimes. Um, and then, we're always, I think this is an underlying challenge for anybody who's working with any type of individual. There's always a family component, and that needs to be respected. Um, but it can be a challenge at times, particularly we unfortunately often encounter family members who may not be um, as supportive or positive for our clients as they can be, whether that's elder abuse or um, financial struggles, or you know really just not wanting to do everything possible to promote the well-being of our client, which can be a challenge. But luckily we do it a lot. I guess that's a silver lining. So but I'd say that's a big challenge too.
Fair enough. So, given that, what skills do you think are important for somebody interested in a job like yours? It sounds like
So
perseverance would be definitely a personality trait.
yeah, absolutely. So in Arosa, we provide community-based care management and home care, whether that's medical and non-medical home care. So you really need to have compassion, and you need to have guts to some extent, because you absolutely are meeting individuals in their home. You need to really have that appreciation for how much a home environment can affect an individual's their successful treatment, and maintaining their functioning and independence. So excuse me. So you need to have that understanding. And yeah, you need to be compassionate. I am so sorry, tickle in my throat, of course, while you're recording, right? um, and then yeah, perseverance, patience. You need to be patient, and you need to be a fierce advocate. You need to have exceptional clinical assessment skills, and then you need to be able to go to every length you possibly can and draw upon every resource that you can think of to make sure your client is getting the resources that they need and the services they need.
Excellent. Well, what are some big projects that you're working on now, or maybe that you finished up in the last couple of months?
Well, as you said, I'm presenting at CMSA, so I've wrapped up that presentation, and I am very excited for that. But that presentation is really about a larger project. As a company, Arosa is really making integrated care management come to the forefront. It's really an approach we believe in. So we're working to train staff members on that approach, and really roll that out on a larger scale, nationwide, company wide. So that's a big project. And then I'm always working on our litigation support work. It's something that I also do, where I act as an expert witness for litigation cases, primarily personal injury. So that's always a project I'm working on, and trying to grow that portion of our company as well. So lots of different hats that I wear on a day-to-day basis, but I'm really excited about all of those different roles. And there's always a project, right? And as soon as you stop one, then another one starts. So
Well, maybe you should consider a presentation on that litigation work because that's got me intrigued too. So
Oh my goodness. You'd be great, Colleen.
I'll,
You'd
I'll
be
hit I'll hit you
amazing.
up for a presentation on that over the next couple of months.
Oh, happily. I could talk for hours about it.
Oh,
It's
excellent.
such a unique perspective, and a unique way for all of us to use all this experience that
Mhm.
we have spent decades building, how we can really use that and offer our expert opinion on what we know best, on
That
what
would be
we have
incredible.
experience
I
in.
think our
Yeah, it's
members
great.
would benefit from that knowledge
Oh yeah,
exceptionally. So
happy to do it.
you mentioned a little bit ago that being a member of CMSA Chicago was, really important to you. So how would you think that being a member of CMSA Chicago has benefited you and your career?
CMSA came into my life at a time in my career where I had built up enough knowledge to know what I was talking about, but not enough to truly feel like I had gained knowledge in most circumstances that I could collaborate with others and I had something to say that they'd want to hear. And not enough to truly feel that I could um, be able to create a care plan that was truly comprehensive because you only know what you know. Well, then CMSA came into my life at a time when I was really turning a corner to going from a new care manager to an experienced care manager. And those relationships I've been able to develop through networking time at CMSA, through my time on the board of directors. Not only did I get to build um, my knowledge base of what is out there because there's so many services out there, but then to actually develop, to take that time and develop relationships with other professionals who I have then called upon. I save business cards from people, and in the future I'm like, oh, I've got a client and I really need to talk with somebody about um, durable medical equipment in the home. Oh, let me go through. Oh, yeah, I met Rob when I was at a dinner meeting 2 months ago. I'm going to give him a call. And so to be able to have at my fingertips a network of professionals where I can call upon them to advance my understanding of what's out there, but also to meet my clients' needs has been a huge benefit. I've attended all the conferences, both Chicago and national, in the past couple years, and those have been immensely beneficial. Just the education alone that's offered is unlike anything else. As much as I appreciate hearing any education, I love education, but I would say the variety and the caliber of education that I have been able to learn from through CMSA has been unlike anything else I've seen. And I sit through a lot of education. One, because I love it, but because all those letters after my name have a lot of CEU requirements. So I sit through a lot of education. And I will say the networking and the education that you get through CMSA is really unlike anything else that I've seen. It's amazing.
I agree. You start to become a connoisseur of continuing education and you're like,
Honestly.
okay, yeah, this is good. This is, but yes,
Yeah.
I agree with you 100%. The level of professionalism and content that we get through our CMSA, both local and national, is unparalleled.
I couldn't agree with you more. I couldn't agree more.
Any final thoughts?
I honestly just think that, I often tell people saying that you're a care manager is saying you're like in business. We do so many things. You can't just say that. But I didn't know that until I joined CMSA. I didn't know how many different things there are to do, let alone that there would be an organization and a network of people that everybody's in it to help each other. Really, that's not just me saying something. That is true. Whether it's, oh my gosh, you need a job. Let me tell you, I've got 3 available, and Jan's got 2, and Marcia's got 3. Everybody is in it together. And okay, you've got a client that needs this type of support. Well, let me give you a couple ideas. It's never about promoting yourself. It's always about how can I help other people. I've not ever met such a group of people that genuinely were passionate about helping each other, and not just the people in the room, but they want to help more people. Spread the word. Let us help you. Let us educate you. Let us be there to support you. This is not an easy field. And it has been so amazing to have access to a group of people to be there to support you when you have questions or don't know what to do or just feel overwhelmed. It's wonderful. I could go on and on, but those are my final words. Final answer, Regis. I won't say more.
Jennifer, thank you so much for taking a couple of minutes out of your afternoon today to talk with me. I really appreciate it. And it was very eye-opening to learn your journey into care management. It's incredible how we end up in the same place at the same time.
Honestly, I couldn't agree more. And it's been my pleasure. I am happy. And I'm happy to talk with anyone further about home-based or community-based care management or litigation support, anything. Always happy to help.
Oh yeah, we'll be hitting you up for a presentation on that litigation support.
No problem. No problem. And thank you for the opportunity.
Oh, my pleasure. Thank you.
Thanks.